Hi there, this is Unit 5.03, Part 2, picking up where we left off on Indian art and architecture. As you see here on the right, the elephant sculpture symbolizing strength and endurance top the capitals of the posts and march across the horizontal tiers. Winged lions representing royalty stand guard on massive sun spirals at the tier's edge. Fertility spirits known as shakshas and shakshis frame the corners of the first tier. Carved images of the Dharma wheel represent the Buddha turning the wheel of law. A horse with no rider symbolizes the great departure, the time when Siddhartha Gautama, the young Buddha, left his family to go out into the world. The lower left post has carved an image of paradise. In the scene of the Buddha preaching, he is represented by the Bodhi tree under which he is said to have attained enlightenment. All four Taranas were originally crowned by the Wheel of Law. Today, only a portion of the wheel on the northern Tarana survives. Hindu sculpture. Around 1000 AD, artists of the Chola dynasty created iconic figures to celebrate Hindu gods. They honored Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, Shiva, the destroyer and regenerator, and many others. Artists created the Shiva Nataraja, or dancing Shiva, to illustrate a fundamental Hindu concept, the cycle of death and rebirth or reincarnation. Each part of the sculpture is symbolic. Hindus believe that by understanding how the parts of the sculpture work together as a whole, the viewer would be led toward salvation. This blending of symbolism and beliefs is characteristics of the complex traditions of Indian culture. Typically made from copper or bronze, statues of Shiva were important symbols of Indian culture and often have a prominent position in Hindu temples.
Shiva.
Shiva Nataraja. Hindu believed humans should work to achieve enlightenment and the release from the cycle of birth and death. To achieve that release, they practiced yoga and dance to bring about trance-like states. Shiva Nataraja, therefore, is typically represented in a dancing pose. The gestures of Shiva's body and hands are symbols representing Hindu beliefs. The Shiva Nataraja combines the godly with the human, a characteristic common to Chola period sculpture. As we see here, the symbolic gestures of Shiva's body and hands represent the Hindu concept of the cycle of life and rebirth. In his upper right hand, Shiva holds a hand drum to sound the beat of creation and destruction. With his lower hand, Shiva issues the have no fear sign known as mudra. In his upper left hand, Shiva holds a ball of fire symbolizing destruction. With his lower left arm, he gracefully reaches across the body and points to his raised foot, a gesture symbolizing liberation. Shiva balances on a demon or dwarf-like figure known as Apasmaru, a symbol of ignorance and the temptations that led humans astray. Shiva's left leg is raised, demonstrating his control over Apasmaru. Shiva performs his divine dance surrounded by an aureola of flames. The fire represents the universe and the destruction of people's egocentric selves. Shiva holds a complex, asymmetrical pose, yet the artist creates a sense of balance by aligning the eyes, nose, stomach, and right foot on a central axis. Shiva's long flowing hair is normally bound on top of his head, but it is loosened during the dance. His face is calm and expressionless to show neutrality towards all things. Conventions of Indian sculpture. So, characteristics of Indian sculpture is what we're about to talk about. The stylized features of the Shiva Nataraja are characteristic of Indian sculpture. Indian artists didn't want to create lifelike representations of the human body. Instead, they followed a series of characteristics or conventions to create what they believed was an idealized form. They used the same conventions, whether they were sculpting gods or humans. Artists drew inspiration from nature and they manipulated proportions to create sinuous lines and figures. Female sculptures typically had broad, full hips and a small waist. Long, slim arms were meant to have the grace of swaying bamboo, and elongated eyes looked like the petals of a lotus leaf.